Hey everybody, welcome to the Dad Challenge Podcast. My name is Josh. Today we're going to do a video I've been trying to do for a little while. It's the video of kind of where this all started, the Dad Challenge Podcast, and who it started with, which was Micah and James Stauffer, and kind of what has happened, the evolution of this anti-family vlogging community and all that kind of stuff, where we were and where we are and what has happened. Goals, ups and downs, pros and cons, and all that kind of stuff that really went down. It's going to be really interesting because James made a post on his Instagram recently, and it just reminded me, we got to talk about this because it is a big deal. So let's go. So if you're new here, welcome. If you didn't know where the Dad Challenge Podcast started, it was back in May of 2020, which is, it's almost been 2 years. End of May 2020 is when I started talking about this story. This woman and this guy adopted this kid from China. They made tons and tons of money off this kid, and then they rehomed him. In their words, by the way, not my words. And that sparked something in me that made me super angry. At the point I was doing an audio podcast with the couple of dads, and we're bringing that back, by the way. It's going to be exciting. And this came across my thing, and I said, I'm going to come on YouTube and talk about it. And then the channel just kind of was birthed from that point. I've had this channel for tons and tons and tons of years, since I was a pastor way back in the day. So it shows that I've had this channel from like 2009 or something like that. I don't know when it was, but I've had this channel for tons of years. But that was the moment that this thing went, pah, and you could see that here with this graph. I don't show a lot of people my analytics, but there's your analytics. And so I honestly didn't have a problem with family vlogging early days. Not even like early days. Even after I started snarking on Micah and everything else, I still was like, whatever. I just think these people are terrible people. It didn't really dawn on me until I started going down the routes of other people. Like Micah's going to London with who? Who's this Bits of Brie? Who's Tiny Beastons? Who's this? Micah then sparked this movement out of this channel that has made enormous view counts. And at this point, I'm at 20 million views on this type of content that I create, which is anti-family vlogger content. At its core, what I try to do here is to bring awareness that exploitation of children on YouTube and social media platforms in general is bad. Also, that these women and these influencers that these people look up to are not somebody you should be looking up to because it's unattainable. And it actually, in the end, makes people feel worse about themselves. There was a Facebook whistleblower that came out recently and said, look, we know this is a problem specifically amongst young people, that they're being fed this whole line of bullshit from these people who are fake, and it's dangerous. And we know it's dangerous. We know personally it's dangerous. To always constantly be stacking yourself up against people who are providing a fake persona and a fake life that you'll never be able to do, in the end, makes people feel like I can't have that, and it makes you depressed. It's clinically, I should bring Dr. Kirk on and talk about the dangers that this could possibly pose, that him as an educated, clinical psychologist could do. That's probably going to be a great episode. But that's kind of where this all went down, right? And that's where it all really, really started for me. And then it kept going. Again, I come back to, I didn't have a problem with this. I actually had a family vlog on my channel. It was Tyson wanted to get a perm. Even at that point, we were doing the audio podcast with the boys, again, which is coming back. We didn't have any problem with that. We would reach out to guys like Koa. We would reach out to, I think, Crazy Middle's dad. We were reaching out to all these influencer dads to say, hey, come on the show and talk about being a dad, because I had no idea of the depth and magnitude of what family vlogging was. I had no clue. And so many people have made choices to not put their kids on the internet or take them off and all that kind of stuff, or at least recognize to some degree the dangers of family vlogging and putting their kids' privacy on the internet for everybody to see. And I'm going to try to lay it out for you really, really, really well today. Okay, we're going to get to that in a minute, but all this came about today because I've been trying to do this video about where this all started and who it all started with, and obviously it was Micah and James. So a lot of you know what went down. If not, go back and watch all my videos on the Stauffers. There's lots, okay? But basically, James and Micah Stauffer adopted a kid. We all know what went down. They rehomed him after it got too hard. And again, the issue wasn't the outrage over rehoming, okay, or the outrage over failed adoptions, because failed adoptions are absolutely very common. It happens all the time. I know people, we've experienced similar things, like as adopted families, foster families. A lot of people in my circles have experienced all this stuff. Failed adoptions aren't what people are upset about, right? What we've come to, hindsight is 2020, what we've realized is exploitation of children is wrong, and specifically of children who are adopted. And then when you make this, this glorious lifestyle from it, okay, and make millions of dollars from it, and then just toss that kid aside, that's why people couldn't forgive them. That was the issue. Again, failed adoptions are very common. I cannot stress that enough. Those of you who have adopted who have have failed adoptions, you shouldn't actually feel bad about that kind of stuff. I mean, depending on whose fault it is, but I mean, that stuff does happen. So I think I've made that clear over the years. The failed adoptions are just a thing, but this is not a thing. And clearly, it's not just me who was up in arms about it. There are so many creators that came online during this Micah thing that actually started there too, in the anti-family vlogging sphere. I almost want to say it didn't start with me at all, but I honestly want to say that the tipping point, the straw that broke the camel's back, was Micah, because there was a girl named Tiffany Ferguson, I think, way back in the day, and a couple other creators that were calling this out early, way early. And they just, in passing, they wouldn't stay on the topic, but they would cover it. So it's definitely not me who started it. It's not me who's going to finish it. I'll likely be canceled way before this thing is finished. But I definitely going to sit here and tell you guys that I had a big role to play in this, especially in Micah's world. And a lot of people will be like, oh, you think it's all you? No, I don't. And I've never ever said I think it's all me. But I think I've had a big role in this. So all that to say is that that's what happened, and that's what got us up in arms, and then that's what started me going down this path. So going back to James, the reason why I continued to talk about James and Micah, even after Micah deleted the channel, which was crazy to me, I'm surprised she did, or went private on everything. All that content is still there. I'm not saying she deleted her channel, she can't get back to it. If Micah decided to unprivate all of her videos, like, it would be a big splash on YouTube. I kid you not. So, but the reason I continue to talk about it is because James built his platform off of the success of the platform of the Stauffer family. So there was Micah's channel, then there was the Stauffer family, and then James decided to do a detailing channel, which completely and utterly, in every single way, fonts and everything, copied somebody called Detail Geek, which is a fellow Canadian from Saskatchewan who's really good at this. Detail Geek even called him out at a couple points. I've done videos on it, okay? He copied Detail Geek and was successful at it because detailing is not that difficult, okay? Especially if you're taking a car that looks like it was, in a crack house for a long time, and then you just cleaned it. It's gonna look great, right? Detail Geek is actually a professional detailer, by the way, and James was not a professional detailer, so I want to say that. And if you're gonna subscribe to detailing channels, Mad Detailing or Detail Geek are where you need to go. James Stauffer built his channel off copying someone else, and also through the success of what they got garnered by H, he got his channel. And now he's got this massive platform where they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and it cannot be forgotten where it all came from. I won't forget it. And I've told the Stauffers, I said, look, get rid of your shit. To this day, what you've done is not acceptable. Nobody thinks it's acceptable. Clearly you don't either, because you got rid of your shit. But James kind of doubled down this week in this post. So he makes this post and it says, full car cleaning video and bio, detailing cleaning Sunday. And people aren't forgetting. The internet will never forget. It's been over a year and a half. No, it's almost been 2 years. I think it's 2 years this month when they dropped this announcement to the world. No, it was May, so almost 2 years. Okay, so this person says, how's H? And then James says, doing super well with his new family. We are doing amazing too. Thanks for asking. Well, James, no one asked you how your family was doing because we don't care how you're doing, you or Micah. We could care less about you guys. And the people, they're saying how's H because obviously it's a dig at James, right? And he's just like, all James has to do is not say things. He's so dumb for doing this. Unless he wants me to cover this and he thinks whatever, it's going to give him more views or whatever, but I don't think so. I think in the end, if James's audience actually knew what him and Micah did for real, like were exposed to it, like if every single one of his followers were exposed to what they did, I guarantee you he would be canceled too. Like just as much as Micah was. Those people that follow those detailing channels, they don't know what he did. They don't care. They don't look at that side of YouTube. They're not into the drama. A lot of them are men, and they just don't care, right? But if they were actually exposed to the absolute horror of what the Stauffers did, I'm sure he would, if not be canceled, would lose over half of his audience for sure, like guaranteed. Because anybody who comes in contact with this story and anybody I tell, they're like, what? I've never told someone this story and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds normal. No, everybody's this like, excuse me? That's what they do. And then another person says H, just puts H's name. And then James says, what about him? And then the person says, are you allowed to visit him? And then James said, no, we are not, but we know he's doing well. So they're not even allowed to visit him, which is good because no thanks. You shouldn't be visiting him. Which actually speaks a lot. I understand that why they're not, but they brought this kid from China and were in his life for the first 5 years of life, say 3 or 4. I'm hazy on it because I have a bad memory, but for a big part of his life. Okay. And the fact that they're not even ever allowed to visit him or talk to him or anything like that does speak volumes to me. And yes, I did find the family that has him now, and I wasn't looking for them. People send me, you guys, if I open my Instagram inbox right now, you would see like 50 messages. From what I saw, he's in a loving home, and that's all that really matters. So that's great. And it's great that they're out of his life because all they did was use him. And I don't care what anybody says. They used him. And we found out so much crap about what they did to this kid, like the duct tape on the thumb, glue, and taping a little baby hand to it, that he didn't have any toys, that he was just always left at home while they went on their family's things because he had his therapies, and like he was the outcast. We covered that in depth. You can go watch any video I've done on it. And it broke a lot of people's hearts for what these people did because they're selfish twats. Okay, 100%. And that's why I did that. So F your channel. Ryan Crawford says, F your channel. Learn how to detail your priorities. Ryan Crawford 23 does not like them. Thanks, bro, James says. And says, just remember, every time you watch my video, I get paid. Keep it up, Buttercup. That's not true. If you go to someone's YouTube channel and you watch it, if you just download it, they don't get paid. If you skip their ads, they don't get paid. So it is what it is. This has been James the whole time through this whole thing. He's never been someone who just came out. They did their tearful apology, which one day maybe I'll go over, where it was just fake crying. And to this day, they still have not answered for what they did. They did that one tearful apology, it was garbage, and then just moved on with their life. And they're like, oh, that's all we're doing now. Cool, bye. They've never come out and said, guys, we're so wrong for what we did. We're so sorry to H and to everybody that relied on us for, this information on adoption. We're sorry to China. We're sorry to everybody that we let down. Right? They let down their subscribers, and so many people were hurt and broken over this. Okay. To this day, they've not paid their penance as far as I'm concerned. Not at all. And then he says, yeah, just remember every time you watch. And then guy says, still greedy person I see. Nice to see nothing has changed with you. Then James says, nothing greedy implied in the comment. Okay. More that your jealousy and hate is only helping me out. One day you'll grow up and be a big boy that understands that. So James is saying, you hate me for what I did and it's only helping me. So James isn't even willing to say, you know what we did was wrong. And I don't expect him to. I don't expect any human to do that. But James just had to do nothing here. He just had to shut his pie hole. That's what he had to do. Instead, he just wants to be baited because he'll never be able to escape the stigma of what he did. Ever. Ever. Because that stays on the internet forever. And over 2 years later, people are still talking about it. Ryan says, it's not the kid's fault. You don't just adopt a kid a few years and abandon them when they have issues, right? That's the issue here, is that's what really happened. And again, not the failed adoption part, the part where they made all the money first, all of it. They owe, if not more than 3/4 of their channel's wealth to H because we went from the point where they started the adoption story to the end. And it was I think it's up in the air from between 10,000 and 70,000 to over 750,000 subscribers because of that story. It was viral. Okay. So they owe it all to him and they just spent it. I'm sure H isn't going to see a penny of that. And then he says, you nailed it, Ryan. Really happy to have you supporting me. Means a lot. How's the fam? Your adopted little boy's adorable. And I wish you the best to have you in prayer. So he's been searching out this guy, Ryan's channel. And apparently Ryan might be an adopted dad. I don't know. Okay. That's really weird that James did that. It's more than that, it's more than that, James says, that will never be shared publicly. I'm glad you understand as a father, you make decisions for the whole family in best interest at all. I don't regret my decision one bit. You don't regret it one bit? Okay. I did what needed to be done, and I'd give a flying F what people think about me. Okay, except you do because you're writing these posts. And then he says, she's doing amazing, meaning Micah. And then this person says, I'm sorry people are still berating your family over this. No. You're berating Micah and James. They're not going to, you don't get away with this. This is it's human. This is a human being you did this to. And you don't regret it one bit, not even a little bit. Not even just I regret some things, like duct taping his hand, treating him like a second citizen at home. Nothing. You don't regret any of that stuff. None. And that's the problem, James. You have no remorse for what you did. The internet was up in flames and up in arms about what you did. And you're sitting here on this 2 years later saying, I don't regret it at all. That's what you're telling the world right now, James. Is that really the message you want to put across after being the most disgusting human being on earth? Is that really it? And that's really cool of you to do that. So I went down that route, and it was a reminder that what we're doing here is working. right? Because James is sitting here 2 years later, still getting berated by people, and then literally admitting to the world that he doesn't regret what they did after they've lost millions of dollars. Like, Micah's channel was making big bucks. Big bucks. I think she still even has a video online about money, and she was going down different routes and different channels about how to make more money, and one of their videos had made them $45,000 or something like that. It was insane. They made lots. So they are gone down to one income, which is James's income, but it's still a lot, because if we go to Stauffer Garage, so if we go to Stauffer Garage, he's got 1.28 million subscribers, which is a lot. He has gained 280,000 subscribers. Actually, no, he's gained more than that. He's gained like 300,000 subscribers since the H story went down. This guy gained 300,000 subscribers since it came out what they did to a adopted kid from China. That's the internet for you, right? So he's got 186 million views. He made a lot of money. Joined March 2014. And then again, keep going here, detailing tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. Videos. He averages around, I mean, it depends. Between 1 month ago, he did 58,000 views, and then, 194,000 views. It's very up and down. 17,000 views, 335,000 views. I think he does videos weekly. I want to say weekly, right? So he's not making tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of cash. Let me take a look. So Stauffer Garage, B grade average on YouTube. He's been growing steadily, and if you get to see his full monthly statistics, in 30 days he makes, so in this past 30 days he's only done 1.5 million views. That's less than I thought it was going to be, actually. I guess because they only post weekly. If you were to post daily, probably make a little bit more. So so they went down way more than I thought. So they're probably pulling in, I don't know, between $10,000 and $20,000 a month. Again, I know that's a lot of money, everybody. I'm not saying that's not a lot of money. Okay. But, that's a lot for a lot of people, but not for them. They were making humongous amounts of dollars. I wonder if Micah's channel's been degraded. B-, she's not been demonetized. She's got 124 million views. I don't know what that means. Sorry, I'm just looking here. She discontinued the channel at 672,000 subs. She had lost so many subs. And if you see her full monthly statistics, even now, it's actually mind-blowing because their channel is not on here. And this is actually crazy to me because I'm looking at the 30-day video average views. And how can she have even 199,000 views in the past 30 days? Her channel doesn't exist unless you're seeing it through private or unlisted video links. That's actually interesting to me, that she's still pulling in 200,000 views a month, according to Social Blade. Interesting. Okay. So we go back to Stauffer Garage. So, I mean, this is really eye-opening. So the repercussions are there. They're still making a decent amount of cash, but nowhere, not even close to what they were making before. And we know that Mike is now fully almost ready to pop, and she has not exploited this pregnancy, which I think in my book, I honestly thought that if she were to get pregnant again, she would exploit that and come back and say, I'm sorry. They would grovel. They would turn the comments off, and they'd be like, we're just going to ignore the hate. We're just going to come back, because that's a lot of money to just miss out on. If Micah ever does come back, they will make incredible amounts of bank off that video. Even the first one will get tons and tons of views, and they'll make good money on it. So I'm actually surprised. I am truly surprised, after knowing what we know about Micah, discovering all her videos, snarking, and understanding who she really is, that she never came back. And again, she might, because she has not deleted her channel, or you would see that. So interesting. So saying all that, coming back to this, we now know that James doesn't give a shit. He actually says he does not regret anything that they did. There's no remorse for what they did. But it needs to be said that the things that have happened since this video has taken place is enormous. Like, the detriments to family vlogging world has been enormous since the Stauffers did their thing. Okay, there's been some channels now that we know of that were really big too, like 8 Passengers, that aren't really family vlogging anymore. And I'm not saying it's because of me or anything like that. Likely because the family vlogging sphere in itself is collapsing, right? So if we take, let's take some of the biggest one, Ace Family. You see Ace Family's video count. So one day ago, they're almost at 1 million views. So the Ace Family's new intro video is 1.3 million views. The surprise was horrifying. They're just hitting or cresting 1 million views on their videos. Depending on, they would do video like this, the end of Ace Family. That's almost got 2 million views, right? We lost Ace Family Member. We covered that video where they went and exploited a kid who died. 2.6 million views, okay? But if you go back even if you go back to the oldest videos, okay, that they started on, the Ace Family Q&A, our first YouTube video. I should probably snark on that. I'm not gonna lie. I should probably do that. Maybe I should do another video in tandem with this one and say, let's go back to their first videos, snark on their shit, and then see what they're at now. So their first video was the Ace Family Q&A. Our first YouTube video is 12 million views. I'm actually very surprised that most people start small and then build up, but they went viral right from the beginning. Girlfriend does boyfriend's makeup, 3.7. So let's go a year ago. Okay. Let's even go to the height of family vlogging, which I want to say is around 2019, 2020. Okay. So we're going to have to go back 2.5 years is what we're going to do. All right. So let's go 3 years ago. Let's just stay there in a nice 3-year window. Okay. Since before the Micah thing happened is about right here. Okay. Around, this is something we finally had to share. 5 million views, 7 million views, 6 million views, 8 million, 6, 7, 8 million, 9 million, 9 million, 6, 7, 7. These are insane view counts, okay? We finally get to reveal the big announcement, 3.7 million. It's anywhere between 5 and like 11 to 12, 15 million, okay? That's a lot of views. Come to today's videos, and I'm going to go back a month or two just so you can get that peak. Their peak is likely around 1.6, 2.8. That's a big loss. I know that's, if I got 2.8 million views per video, guys, I would have a private airplane. Just saying. But I'm just saying that's still a lot of views, but nowhere near. So all these people have built up their wealth and they lived in the world of 5.7 to 11 million views per week or whatever video they dropped, right? Now they're living on less than a quarter of that to some degree, right? Let's just say 60 to 70% less views on their videos. They can't sustain the lifestyle they built up to on that. That's steadily decreasing. That's not making more unless they've invested elsewhere. So that's why they're kind of like flailing and doing crazy videos. That's the Ace family. I want to say one of the biggest family vloggers. Let's go to LeBrant's. Huge family. A family that I've covered multiple times. Okay, so go to their videos. Let's go 3 years ago, shall we? Sort by newest. Newest, good. So here it is, right around this area 2 years ago here. So we got separated, our first ever family plane flight, 2.9 million, 7 million, 8 million, 5 million, 13 million. That's the baby mama. Oh, I hate that thing. 6 million, 3 million, 3.5 million, 12 million. So this like, again, every video is over at least 3 million or more. And the majority of them are over 9 million and some of them are 17 to 20 million per video. Okay, let's go today, about a month ago, let's say about 3 months ago. Now they're down 1.9, 1.7, 827,000, 1.5, 1.4. They've still got a steady stream of about 1.5 from an average of around 5 to 12 million. That is a big drop, okay? That's a huge drop. I know you can't overlook that right now. That's considered a lot of views, and it is. But there's a massive, huge drop from where they were before. Okay, let's take a normal family. Let's do Just Fam, who is in the family vlogging world isn't that big of a deal, right? She's got 1.26 million subscribers. It's not. I'm not saying it's small. It's just she's not as big a deal as the bigger ones. But it's someone I cover a lot of. Constant drama in the past 2 years has really brought a lot of these people out to the forefront of who they really are. I remember me covering Just Fam for the first time after the Micah thing, because she had dropped a video saying, do I exploit my kids? No, I don't. Here's what I do. I pay them. And I actually liked Just Fam. I thought she was cool. I honestly did. Hindsight is 2020. Now I realize who she is. I'm like, damn, my gut did not do me right there. So let's go 2.5 years ago. First look at our new remodel, 154,000, 168,000, 166,000, 3.9 million views on My Daughter Came Home from School covered in something, and her daughter's in a leotard on the thumbnail. 3.9 million views. Okay. Again, I just seeing these types of things honestly continues to remind me that when these parents do these provocative thumbnails with their daughters half naked, look at the view count bump on that from 166, 168, 266 to 3.9 million. Again, my 8-year-old daughter below that right here dances in the Disneyland. Okay. Daughter's wearing something, 2.1 million views. Guys, you can't get around it. Her daughter brought the views in, not her. Maybe it's worth just doing that, going down this whole thing. Custody update, 400,000. Let's see what else. I'm just going to go and find the biggest videos because we're hovering around between 250,000 and 300,000 were her videos, right? 2-year-old caught saying her first bad word, 1.2 million views. Jess's biggest videos have nothing to do with Jess. They're about her kids. What does that tell you? So let's go to a month So she's hovering around there with a bunch of her videos cresting millions and millions and millions of hits, okay? None of my videos on YouTube have even close to 1 million hits. I think my number one video has 700,000 or something like that. So I've never been there. I've never even seen numbers like that. And a bunch of her numbers were like that. So now we're looking at her new video. Let's go about a month ago. Me getting a terrible mistake, getting professional something done, 166,000, 118,000, 124, 153, 158. Nothing has crested above 200. A couple have, but there's no more million hit videos. None. Even if she put her daughter in it. Like, let's go. Let's find the next one that would be considered provocative, okay? There it is. So I have something to tell you with her daughter in the picture that has 227,000 views. Addressing the question about my stepson, 300,000 views, okay? But everything now is like, and she still gets great views. Don't get me wrong. Just Fam still gets over 100 and even one that was dropped 20 hours ago, 110,000 views. But she hovers around there. Chris does a video like 2 days ago. It doesn't even... It's 95,000 views. Again, I would love to have those views, but that is what is happening. That is all thanks to Micah. Not me covering Micah, but Micah exposing the truth of who these people really are, of what they do. Early on in the channel, I did not know that family vlogging was wrong. I would not even have considered it wrong. I had no clue. Right? And so people continue to call me out today. They're like, Josh was a family vlogger. I had one family vlog. And then I started my podcast with the boys. And then the Micah story broke. So, and I had no problem with filming my kids being born and doing songs for them. I had no problem with it. I didn't see a problem with it at all. I had no problem with filming my kids like, just normal every day in my videos here and there. No problem. But that's the difference, everybody. We learn and we move on, right? We say, that was terrible. I shouldn't have done that. And even at the point you didn't even think it was wrong, and you still might not think it's wrong, but you might think, okay, that's their privacy. And so all these families that have chosen to take their stuff off or remove it or stop doing that stuff, mad respect to you, right? I'm not going to continue to come after you or hate you if you've made the choice to protect your kids. I think you deserve to be honored for that. I did a video with Tara Henderson on this. Tara Henderson, who is coming back this week, who completely turned around 180 on that whole sob story. Right? She did it and I celebrated her and I did a video about celebrating her and then she completely turned around and did it again. Right? But I will. Even if she decides again that she's going to take her kids off, I'll still celebrate her. Those people should be celebrated. Those that I come after on this channel are bad people. The misogynistic, the mom shaming, all these like, you just must be jealous and all this kind of stuff. These are the people that deserve being roasted in every possible way. If you exploit children for money, and I've said this a million times, you deserve everything I say on here. And if you don't do those things, and I happen to comment on something that you might do the same thing, I don't believe that about you. Okay? I'm just trying to find everything I can to tear these people down. And a lot of people are like, well, that's bullying and everything else. Okay, well, if you exploit children, those who don't have a voice, who cannot stand up for themselves, call it what you want. I call it standing up to bullies. I call it standing up to bad people. But you can call it what you want. So yes, coming back to that thing, I had no problem with this. And I still, to this day, don't actually have a problem with people posting their kids. People message me all the time saying, hey, can you take a look at me? And is it okay to post this? I'm like, I'm not the police on what to post, everybody. Here, and again, maybe I just need to do an entire video just on this again. Where you draw the line is, how much does the internet know about your children? Like, do they know medical history? Have they seen them have a freak out? Have they seen them bleed? Have they seen their first period? Have they seen them, bra shopping? Have you seen them shaving their legs? Have you seen them going to prom, getting their first kiss? Have you seen them every day for years and years? If you look at Maya by a Night on TikTok, do you see those kids 3 times a day for the past year? Like, in everything that they do? Like, those kids can't go a day without posting content. Those kids are filmed every day of their life, okay? And then the other thing is do you make money off of your kids? And I have to say that cautiously, right? Because people are upset with me for putting my kids in some parody videos, right? Which I've taken down, by the way, because you're right. As I grow, I absolutely see the hypocrisy in it. But I will tell people, if you make money off your children, and that's where I did draw the line. But at the same time, I understand that. I don't want people to come here and be distracted by the fact that, oh, you have your kids on here, so that's all that, and they'll use that. They'll try to discredit me and everything I've said, of all the things I've ever said, and they'll say, well, your kids are on there. And to a degree, they're right? Because I don't want to distract it. So I took my kids off in anything I could. Because at this point, I'm growing and I did not know I was going to get this big. I honestly never thought I would get to this level. And I do see that as I grow, it's probably best to just get them off. So yeah, I appreciate those people that have said that and have called me out in a nice way, you know, and say, hey, look, your kids are on there. You got to admit that them being on there, not a good look. You're right. So they're gone, right? But at the same time, I still think that family vloggers in general, right? Take any of them, for example. If they even dialed back 80%, and their kids were just in passing, I would have no problem with that. And I've said that millions of times. I would have zero problem with that. If you're a mommy vlogger, right, talking about being a mom and cleaning and blah, 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 and your kids run into the frame, or even you're at a soccer game, or, you know, they're in there once in a blue moon saying hello and then they scoot out, I have zero problem with that. None. Go for it. And I've always said that. In the end, my goal here is to get to the point where kids don't have their entire lives on the internet. The line that's going to have to be drawn is how much do you know about them? When they get to high school, what have you put on the internet about them that their friends and their enemies can bully them for? Right? And the third thing is the predators. And we know this to be true in so many videos that I've done. One of the big videos I started with was Everly LeBrant discovering through Social Book or Social Blade or whatever it's called, Social Book, the analytics behind the scenes that I paid lots and lots of money for. Well, you helped pay for that too, by the way. And I still pay for those. I still every month have to pay for those analytics. Okay? Those analytics were super eye-opening. So we also have to talk about the predatory nature of putting your kids online. Maya Knight, we know their kids are found in CSAM sites. And now I'm not calling it CP anymore, it's CSAM. Okay? Which is child sexual assault material. Okay, that's what the real term for it is. It's CSAM. There's also the problem of deepfakes. There's also the problem of the men leaving comments on these kids' Instagrams. There are kids with Instagrams that aren't even born yet with 300, 400,000 subscribers. Kids should not have Instagrams because there are adult men looking at their content and commenting on their content. With Everly LeBrant, it was the leotards and the dancing and everything else. Piper, Lillian Ketchman. There is so much proof. And even in that video, we went down the Predator playlist. When YouTube removed the comments, Predators then instead started creating playlists and sharing it in their world. And we covered that too. So that's the threefold issue here, okay? The privacy issue, that your kids do not give informed consent to tell the world their privacy. And there's been lots of videos of people showing things they should never, ever show. And we can all agree on that kind of stuff, I think. I think to a degree, most people will agree that bra shopping with your daughter in the video is a bad idea. Talking about their first period, that's a bad idea. And I'm not period shaming everybody. A lot of people get really upset with me when I talk about periods for some reason. It's a natural thing. It's awesome. You know, it's not awesome for you, but it's like a natural thing. And there's no shame in your period. Like that's your body. That's how this works. We all poop too. Everything. It's all this thing. But people get upset with me when I say that because they think I'm shaming the period thing. No. What I'm telling you is that you shouldn't be sharing that with the internet because that girl cannot give informed consent to that. And I've asked this to a lot of people, and ask yourself this, even people who hate me, women who hate me, okay? Would you have loved your parents to put that on the internet when it happened to you? Give your head a shake, okay? And all those things. So that's the privacy part of it. Then it's the money part of it. Are your kids your main driver to your content? There's a couple of families who have completely switched away from using their kids and have thrived. And that's awesome, and they should be celebrated, but they didn't take off their old stuff, so whatever. Okay? And then there are families who refuse to even look at the idea that informed consent matters. Refuse to look at the idea that this could damage their kids' future. Specifically people like Shannon Rose and other people who are in the adult film industry who I don't see a problem with that. When we've seen articles time and time again of kids being bullied to the point of wanting to take their own lives because of what their mother does on the internet. We've seen it. And I'm not saying it happens all over the place, but we have seen it. And we've also seen what the lack of privacy does to kids who grew up on TV, like TLC shows, like 19 Kids and Counting, like Johnny Cake Plus 8, like The Roll-Offs, okay? Nothing ever good has ever come from that. Nobody was happy with the outcome. None of the kids anyway. Parents who made the millions, they're happy, but the kids didn't. Okay? And then the third thing, again, predators. Maya Knight proved this the other day when she got super upset with somebody approaching her at a bar and yelling, Maya, Maya, Maya. And she's like, what are you doing? It's like she thinks she's entitled to privacy. You're not entitled to privacy when you are famous. You can say you want it, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get it, and you shouldn't expect it It's just the way the world works. If you make your children famous and they get approached, Bonnie Holing did a video like this too. Someone came to their front effing door, by the way. Look at Ava Madgery. The guy came to the door and shot the door off with a shotgun. And if her dad wasn't there to come, when he came back, he would have probably killed the whole family. Okay. That kid was killed by the dad. This is a dangerous world that you're putting your kids in, and it's only getting more dangerous. Okay. It's not getting less dangerous. It's getting more dangerous. Predators are getting smarter. Deepfakes are getting easier to make. They're selling this stuff on the internet, and you're giving it to them to sell on the internet. There's this argument to be made too that a lot of people are saying, well, just, it's not my fault if I put my kids out there and people take it and use it for that stuff, right? They say that because they're saying that's victim blaming. But as parents, it's just, there's no other options. There's no argument to say that because the only thing we really have to say to that is that if you knew that there were predators at a place that you were going to send your kids to, and you had the option to not send your kids to that place with predators, what are you going to do? Are you going to say, well, predators exist, so let's just go? No good parent on earth would ever do that. If you knew what you know, you wouldn't. And if you do, you should not have children. That's what you're doing on the internet. You're exposing your children to hundreds of thousands, if not millions and millions of predators who are getting this served up on a silver platter to them, and they love every second of it. Remember, we talked to that person that was working at a prison, and the prison had to shut off YouTube because these predators, who were known predators, would watch family vlogs for that content. They would watch it. There are sick people out there. And yes, you shouldn't have to hide your life because there are sick people out there, right? But if you know that there's danger and you keep continuing to put your kids in that danger, knowing that there's danger and then making money off of it, okay? So not only are you making money off of it in general over their privacy without their informed consent, but you're also making money off the predators watching it. You can't feel good about that. There's no way you can convince me or justify it to yourself that that's okay. There's no way. And if you can, you're a psychopath. And that's kind of where we are. That's kind of where we landed. A neat little bow on that, right? In the end, it's about if I had my choice, I would just say, if your kids are going to be on there, be very wary of what everybody knows about them. Be wary if they know what school they go to, their daily structure, if you're on vacation, all their medical things, because so many you can go down any family vlog and know, especially our life, for example, and know almost every single time any of their kids have ever been in a hospital in the past 6 years. Who should know that? That's crazy, right? So there's just too much. So all that accumulates into this world of just making bank on YouTube. And they do it at the expense of their children, against their children's informed consent. And we're going to see this in the coming years as more kids age out of these programs, out of these TV shows, out of these YouTube channels. You're going to see it. And I'll be there to say, I told you so. But I hope it's not going to be at the expense of a kid getting hurt or killed or otherwise, because that's what we're waiting for the laws to change, unfortunately. It really sucks. So, interesting video. Very interesting that James says he has no regrets whatsoever, which I highly doubt, if they're living where they're living, into the state that they're living in. But they're still going to country clubs and shit, so maybe they put it all away. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. In the end, what really matters is that he doesn't regret what they did. And that just means that people like that exist. They don't regret that they're doing this to their children. The money means more than their safety every single time. All right. Everybody take a deep breath. Whew, that's a good one. Very interesting video. I just went off the cuff. I didn't have any of that planned. I just went with it. And it's what I do. So I want to thank you guys for being here for these types of videos for the past 2 years. It's been actually incredible. And honestly, didn't think I was going to get to this level. And again, I am listening, always listening. But if you're going to be a dickwagon about it, just don't. I don't care. I will listen to those who I trust. And I've gotten here because of you. And I really want to appreciate, and I always want to make sure that you know how appreciative I am of you being here, following this message and being here with me. You're beautiful, gorgeous, and man, you look so good in those pants right now. What's up? Don't ever forget how valuable you are to me and others around you. I'll see you tomorrow.